everyone please be seated? Roll call, please.
Miss Ellarding? Miss Logston?
Here.
Mr. Turner? Mr. Irwin?
Here? No.
Miss Carter?
Here.
Miss Martin?
Here.
And Miss Schultz?
Here.
Okay, everyone's here.
So I actually say that, or do I just read that? Are there any correction or additions to the minutes of the last meeting? Seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as written and distributed.
Just, you're going to call on him to say reports and communication.
Okay, reports and communication.
Mayor.
Mayor Ellarding.
Yeah,
Dude.
you guys are all going to report on your day when you're called upon, okay?
I think my day was fantastic, and I would like to thank the city of Sharonville for hosting this event, which was run by me, so.
You want me to?
Perfect.
You want me to skip like nobody
Okay,
has
and
that?
then now
right?
you can go do your report.
All right. I'm next for my report for the day. I also had a great day touring all the facilities, getting to be a part of this mock trial. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
You want to say something? Or should we skip you?
I have no report, thanks.
All right. Our auditor, which is Dylan.
Also had a great day touring all the facilities.
Next, we have our treasurer, Jay Coulter.
To follow up what Matthew said, yeah, I had a good day, and I'm thankful for what Sharonville did, and we were lucky to tour the police department, fire department, and things like that.
Our law director, Miss Addison.
Um,
Or
That's
who's our law director?
law
Natalie.
director.
Yes, and I got offered the opportunity to go on a ride along with a police officer while we were at the police department today, so I had a good day.
Now, are there any residents who should be heard this evening?
Would any of the residents like to be heard this evening?
Yeah. Tell her to come up to the microphone and give her
You can come up to the microphone.
and say, give me your name and address.
Please give me your name and address. You might have to turn the microphone on. It's on. Okay.
Okay, my name is Angie Martin, and I live at 10488 Wintergreen Court. And I first of all would like to thank our Public Works Director. I had a request a few months ago when we pull out of our street and we try to turn. It's very dangerous because coming from the left, there are cars parked and we can't see who's coming. So it's kind of like do or die situation. We pull out and hope we don't get hit. So we recommended that maybe a sign be put in place, and our Public Works Director put it there. So that's great. Thank you. But as a follow-up, I have a question. What happens when cars continue to park there as they are? Anyone?
And our
My
safety
law
service
director, Natalie, and I don't have
The
one.
the safety service director is not available right now, but you'll
Okay.
get in touch with them and they'll get
Yeah,
with her.
I'll get in touch with my safety service director whenever. He's not here right now, so.
Thank
Doesn't
you.
fit.
That would be much appreciated. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other residents that would like to be heard? Name and address, please.
Hi, so, thank you. I have a question. The pear trees that line the street, so our neighbor who we love, there was a concern over whose tree it was, and he got up there one day and took it down in a storm, and then had to get back up and took it down, and took the power line down off our house, and had a live wire whipping around on our grass. We all love each other still. But anyway, then we found out that maybe he didn't have to take that down, somebody else could have. Is that true?
I'll have to refer to my law director and my
Good one.
safety service director. Once again, any other residents that desire to be heard?
You getting a stink eye?
Name and address, please.
Corey Williams, 4162 Allenhurst Close Court. We are looking to request extra streetlights be put in our neighborhood. There are some really dark corners, especially in the back, and I wasn't sure who to direct that to.
Our Public Works Department, you can go ahead and give them a call. I'm sure we have a website that you can look their number up on and give them a call, and I'm sure if they think your complaint is valid, then they will fix that for you.
Thank you very much.
I will personally make sure Public Works follows up with you.
Any other residents that would like to be heard? Yes, name and address, please.
Jessica Carter, 10944 Aztec Court. Just wanted to see about the city looking into speed bumps on Grandview, because it's insane watching cars driving down there, I don't know, very fast. So I don't know if there's been any thought about that, but Grandview is scary. That's all. Grandview is, yeah.
Yeah, I drive Grandview all the time. My sister also drives it. She's probably one of those people that you're referring to. So that's very valid. I think, is that
We
public?
can have the police department.
Our police department, yeah, our police department can handle that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Pass
Yeah,
that
no.
along.
All right.
We'll work on making that an ordinance.
Good job.
Any other residents that would like to be heard in front of the council?
No residents, council committee, so you're gonna start down
Is
there.
it going to be an order?
And just the elected, just the ones that are voting tonight, so the first three, and then these three over
So
here.
do I go pick the Edna or do I?
No,
Okay,
just
just
keep
keep
going on down. Go to those three first.
All right, seeing that there's no more residents that would like to speak, we're going to start with our council committees that will be voting tonight. We're going to start over here with Elizabeth Ellerding. How was your day today? How was Student Government Day?
It was a good day.
Good day. Yeah, what was your favorite part?
The food at the fire station.
I agree, the food was very good. Next, we're going to move to Reagan Logston. How was your day? What was your favorite part?
My day was good. My favorite part was touring the police department and the fire department.
Good. Next, we're going to move to Mr. Caleb Irwin. Same question. How was your day? How was your favorite part?
My day was pretty good. My favorite part was probably touring the fire department.
Fire department. All right. Next, we're going to go to Emma Carter. Same question.
My day was pretty good too. I think that my favorite part was getting to tour the different departments and also getting to ask a lot of questions.
Thank you. Next is Amelia. How was your day? What was your favorite part?
I had a good day today, exploring all the facilities of Sharonville and exploring possible future career options. I think it was really good for us to look into that.
And lastly, Addison, how was your day and what was your favorite part?
It was really good, and my favorite part was getting locked in the jail downstairs.
All right, that's going to conclude our reports and communications for this evening. Is this ready to order?
What you're gonna say is new business, and she's gonna read them.
Okay, so new business is not the number?
Tell her, no, just tell her new business, please.
Oh, new business, please.
Okay. The first and only reading of Student Government Ordinance 2022-01, authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract for design and construction of an overpass near the intersection of East Sharon Road and Evendale Drive. It's a first and only reading.
Oh, okay, this is where I go here. Is there a motion for ordinance 2201?
Somebody has to raise their hand, put it on the floor. Just raise your hand.
So you
Okay.
call their-
Second by?
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah.
Here we go. And say their names, so she knows. You're
Okay,
helping
so
her. So Addison put it on, she was your, and then,
Addison put it on and Amelia seconded it. So we're
is there
now,
any discussion?
is there any discussion about this ordinance that the council members would like to debate about?
Yes, this is where you can talk about it.
Mayor Ellerding, what would you like to say about this topic?
I personally think this overpass would be a bad idea. Sharonville's economy. The overpass, constructing the overpass for one, would cost a lot of taxpayer money. And secondly, we would be hurting the businesses that are right by where the overpass. And that would be a hassle on my part.
Thank you, Mayor Hardman. Is there anyone else? Oh, sorry. Mayor Ellerding, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to discuss this matter? Addison, would you like to speak? Okay.
Okay, I would say that the businesses surrounding the overpass would actually flourish because right now there are people avoiding that road so that they don't have to cross the train and possibly be stuck. So we'd be helping the economics of the area instead of hurting them. But I don't know where we're going to get the money.
Thank you, Addison. Anyone else that would like to discuss? Dylan?
I would like to ask where the money is coming from. Exactly.
Well,
You don't have to answer that.
no comment. Anyone else that would like to? Reagan?
I would say that the overpass is a good idea because I know that train gets stuck quite often, and many times us coming from Sharonville are late to school, late to Princeton High School because the train stops on the tracks, and we get delayed coming home because it will stop. So it'll just be easier to transport students quicker and safer.
Thank you, Reagan. Natalie?
I second that because not only does it get stopped there, but when it gets stopped there, it also sometimes gets backed up to the other way where you can get around. So then there's no way for anybody to get around and traffic gets really backed up and then buses can't get through and everybody's late.
Thank you, Natalie. Elizabeth?
So I have a question. What about the railroad tracks on Kemper Road and Crescentville Road?
Well,
That's not what's in the ordinance.
see, that's not what we're focusing on in this specific ordinance. If you'd like to bring up another ordinance sometime, then. Would you like to make an addition to the ordinance that would include those rail tracks?
If we were to include an overpass with Kemper Road and Crescentville Road, I believe that would be a good idea as well. If we were to add an overpass to Sharon Road, then there should be overpasses for other ones as well.
Is there a motion to accept that amendment that Elizabeth just proposed?
She's raising her hand, so move by.
Moved by None of them have their hands up.
Oh, she did. Amelia had her hand.
Put your hand up. Amelia is moved by Amelia. Is there a second?
Yeah, Elizabeth.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add that to the ordinance. With the vote.
Now you have to vote.
Oh, okay. So,
Any other discussion on the amendment?
is there any discussion on the amendment now that Addison?
I would say that there is not as much of a problem with that road, and it's going to cost us, it's going to double how much we have to pay to build another one. So I don't think that's very as beneficial. I think that would be brought up in a different time.
Thank you, Addison. Anyone, Natalie?
I also think the construction might end up causing more problems than solving would eventually help, because the construction is going to take a while and it's going to cause problems while it's being constructed.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none.
On the addendum.
Okay, we're gonna do roll call on the amendment. So this is where they vote. So this is gonna be a vote, just to clarify. It's called roll call.
So roll call on just the,
Yeah,
On the
vote,
change.
no,
On the cha-
votes, we're roll calling to change the amendment. This is not passing it yet.
Yes.
Miss Ellerding,
Yes.
Miss Logston,
No.
Mr. Irwin,
No.
Miss Carter,
No.
Miss Martin,
No.
and Miss Schultz.
No.
Okay, that motion, that amendment does not pass.
Going back to the regular ordinance.
All right, now we're gonna go back to the ordinance 2201. And is there any other discussion that needs to take place? Yes, Emma.
Just to kind of add to all of it, I have noticed that whenever the train does stop, a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic is like present. And a lot of the time, cars that want to pass the bumper-to-bumper traffic go into the opposite lane, like the lane that's coming the opposite way. And that can cause accidents and traffic.
Thank you. Still discussion if anyone else wants to. Elizabeth?
After hearing what Ms. Carter said, I believe that there is a right turn lane on, what's the road? Sharon Road. Sharon Road that allows people before the light at the Ford plant that allows them to turn right and access an outlet. There is also Watson's and Shaheen's parking lots that the people can pull into to turn out and access the outlet as well.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Is there anyone else? Reagan?
Obviously, the whole reason the track blocks it, the train blocking the track is such a big problem is because of how much traffic flows through. What are we going to do about the traffic that goes through there while construction is undergo?
Well,
That's a good question.
so do I actually have to answer these?
You don't have to answer. No,
right,
you're
well-
not here to give all the answers. You can just say we can look into that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that, obviously. That's what you guys are gonna be voting on, is if you want,
You'll have to work with the engineering company.
yeah, the engineering company, we're gonna have to work with them, Public Works, I'm sure.
Yes. See, you learned something.
Yeah. Thank you, that's a good question, Reagan.
I know.
All right, any more discussion? That is, Addison.
I would like to ask one more time where we're gonna get money. Do we have any money?
Well, yes, we have money. If we have money to spare to do this, I'm not sure. That's not my job. We have,
The treasurer should.
yeah, my treasurer over here, Mr. Coulter. I'd just like to ask you if you,
No comment.
all right, well, thank you, Mr. Coulter. Yeah, Amelia.
To follow up on that, traffic while the construction is being done, I do know that you could get on 75 and go south and end up on Glendale Milford, or you could take Canal and also end up on Glendale Milford. If you turn right off of Sharon, which that could be a way to cut through and come back to Sharonville, Evendale area. So that's a solution that could be present.
Thank you, Amelia. Natalie?
Yeah, so I think what Amelia was saying, you can create detours, but it would also be really important to make this a top priority and construct it as fast as possible because A, there's products on the trains that need to keep being transported, and B, the construction is going to also cause more traffic problems along with the trains still needing to get across.
So, so I think in terms of the train, I think the trains will still be able to pass through while we're doing construction since it is an overpass. But yeah, that's. All right, anyone else? Reagan.
So as a solution to try and get the money for this overpass, Sharonville doesn't currently have property tax, but could this be a solution that could get us some revenue to build this overpass?
So much revenue? Did you ask me a question? So, Mrs. Logston, what I'm hearing is, are you making a motion to add property tax to this ordinance?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Logston. All right. Is there motion for this?
Yeah. So is there a second?
Okay, so that's, is there a second to that motion? Addison? All right, thank you. All right, now we have to discuss this.
Yes. Very good. See?
Property tax. Elizabeth.
Putting in a property tax would drive hotels out of Sharonville, which is the majority of Sharonville's revenue, which would also drive people out of the convention center. Do you really think this is a good idea?
Well, I did not suggest ordinance or motion. So, Trevor, Mr. Mayor, do you have a comment?
I like to pride myself in thinking I'm a mayor of the people. And for that reason, I think the property tax is quite frankly a terrible idea.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else have any comments on this property tax that Reagan has suggested? All right, seeing that there's none, we're going to do roll call for the amendment to Ordinance 2201.
Ms. Ellarding?
No.
Ms. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
No.
And Ms. Schultz?
No.
Okay, that is a tie where the president has to break the tie.
So, property tax, huh? No.
Okay.
Said no.
No. Okay, that amendment does not pass.
All right. Any more discussion on Ordinance 2201 that needs to be heard?
Okay.
All right, seeing none, that we're gonna go to roll call for Ordinance 2201.
Okay. Ms. Ellarding?
Yes.
Ms. Logston?
No.
Mr. Irwin?
No.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, that ordinance does pass. Ordinance 2022-01 passes.
Excuse me, I would like to veto that ordinance.
That's it.
Seeing that our wonderful mayor has vetoed the ordinance that all of you councilmen voted on, saying, yes, you did want this. Not all of them, but we're going to now have a motion on to override his veto. Is there a motion to override his veto? All right, and second? So a motion from Ms. Addison and a second by Amelia.
Roll call on the veto, on the motion to veto. Ms. Ellarding?
No.
You want-
Oh, to override Trevor's veto, all 6 of you need to say yes. So, yeah, we need 6 votes on a yes.
Ms. Ellarding?
No.
Ms. Logston?
You're voting to veto him, saying he doesn't want to sign the legislation.
So, yes? I'm so confused.
Yes, you want it to go into effect.
No.
Mr. Irwin?
No.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, now this is a tie.
You needed
Okay,
6
all right.
votes, so
I'd vote yes. I'm just.
All right,
the mayor's veto
Yes.
stands, so that legislation is not
does
passed.
not pass. All right. Well, that was,
She's gonna read another one.
Ordinance 221.
okay. First and only reading of Student Government Ordinance 2022-02, approving an additional vacation day per year for full-time employees.
Is there a Is there a motion for ordinance 2202? And that's moved by Addison, second by? Does he get a second?
He can't second it. It has to be one of those 3 or one of these 3 over here. It has to be a voting member. Does anybody, Caleb?
All right, Caleb seconds. So now we're now going to have a discussion on ordinance 2202. Would anyone like to speak? Amelia?
I just have a question. How many vacation days are they already receiving?
On the employee and how long they've been here.
Okay, so
Yeah. Vacation.
Additional vacation day.
It says additional vacation days. It depends on how long the employee has
yeah,
been.
that depends on the seniority of the employee and how long they've been here for. Longer you've been, a lot more vacation days you get. Shorter you've been, less vacation days you get.
I believe it should depend on that then. Depend on their seniority and how many they're already getting.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone else that would like to discuss? Elizabeth.
At what point would the employee receive the additional vacation day?
It's a vacation day, so you can use it whenever, because
They get them
every January, apparently. You get new vacation days every January? Yeah, you get new vacation days every January, so you can just use that whenever. Trevor?
I think another vacation day for our fabulous employees would be wonderful.
Thank you, Trevor. Anyone else like to discuss the extra vacation day? Emma?
I feel like one vacation day isn't that impactful. Like other things could come over just one vacation day.
All right, thank you. Caleb?
I think if employees get vacation days, then high school students should too.
Is there a motion to add Caleb's amendment? Caleb said that he would like high schoolers to also get an extra vacation day. So is there a motion to add that to our ordinance 2202? Elizabeth motions it. And does anyone second that? Reagan is going to second that. All right. We're going to discuss this amendment. Would anyone like to say anything? Elizabeth?
In times when they are stressed, students should get the rest they deserve.
Spoken like a true student. All right, anyone else like to discuss? Reagan?
If workers are off, and if it develops community if families get to spend more time at home. So if workers and families are at home and their children are at home, they can nourish relationships more tenderly.
Thank you. Trevor?
I don't understand what the city of Sharonville having a vacation day has to do with high school students.
Thank you, Trevor. Anyone else like to discuss the extra vacation day? Emma?
Just as I said before, it's one day.
Thank you, Emma. Yes. Anyone else? All right, seeing that there's none, we're going to move on to roll call to add this amendment to our ordinance 2202.
Ms. Ellarding?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
No.
Ms. Martin?
No.
Ms. Schultz?
No.
Okay. And President, you are the tiebreaker of this tie vote.
No.
Okay. Okay, that amendment is not passed.
All right, back to discussion of ordinance 2202. Anyone else have to add an amendment or say anything? All right, we're going to do the vote on ordinance 2202 now, so can I get roll call?
Sure. Ms. Ellarding?
Yes.
Ms. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
No.
Ms. Carter?
No.
Ms. Martin?
No.
Ms. Schultz?
No.
Ordinance 2022-02 did not pass. Next. Okay. First and only reading of Student Government Resolution 2022-R01, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to submit a grant applications for the purpose of constructing a skate park in the city of Sharonville.
Is there a motion for resolution 01? Addison motions. And is there a second? Elizabeth, second. All right, moving on to discussion about resolution 01. Amelia.
So I know that parks can be unsafe when there's skateboards in places like parks, like our park for say. It could make it unsafe for younger people, but I think if we're gonna get a grant and put money towards that, I think it should go towards an overpass instead.
All right, we are not talking about the overpass anymore. Emma, did you have something to add?
I just think that it's very unsafe because a lot of kids could get hurt. Yeah.
Thank you. Reagan.
Piggybacking on what Ms. Martin said, if we're going to apply for grant money, it shouldn't be for a skate park. I feel like it should be for something that benefits the city more, and I don't think that's what a skate park necessarily does.
Trevor?
One of the biggest things towards a community is the community's happiness. And knowing there are many people that would enjoy a skate park, adding a separate skate park away from the other parks where they wouldn't get in the way of Gower or Gorman Park. And if you're worried about the safety, that's kind of on the parents because they supply the kids with the safety gear.
Oh yeah, Mr. Mayor, actually, on the safety point, I think since it's in a skate park, that actually is more safe than just skateboarding out in the streets or something, because you're in an area where you're supposed to skate. So, yeah. Our law director.
I think if you created a skate park, then it would keep the skateboarders out of normal parks where people didn't want them around little kids and causing problems and accidents. And you could also create a waiver so it wasn't a liability for when they got hurt if they were skating in the skate park.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
I believe that the skate park is a good idea because it will attract more people to Sharonville. One of the main things people look at when moving to a town is nearby parks, and if the families have skaters or people who are interested into skating, it would attract them.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, jeez. Rock, paper, scissors, you two. Sorry. Addison.
So I believe that if there's a skate park, I mean, it would increase safety in parks like Gower or Gorman. But if Sharonville's skate park is the closest to other areas that might not be so good in Cincinnati, it could increase crime rates and bring in bad things that we might not want in our city.
You're like Addison.
It is not the closest skate park. My brother skateboards, and I know of several different skate parks closer to the Cincinnati area and different areas that have skate parks. So this would not be the closest. I don't think it would draw people in just to skateboard or whatever you were going to do at the skate park. I think it would keep skateboarders out of other areas where there would be smaller children, because I don't think people are going to see a skate park and send their small children. So I think it would help in that aspect.
Just kind of on the more positive note, I feel like a skate park would bring a lot more kids outdoors, and especially in the summers, like in more modern day, like a lot of kids just use their phones and technology during the summers instead of going outside like we used to when we were little. So a skate park might bring them outdoors more in the summer.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, actually, Jake, you've been pretty quiet, so I just wanted to hear if you have an opinion.
Yes, secretly I have been forming my own opinion. I feel like if we were to hypothetically build a skate park, I think we should enforce a rule or two for younger people to be wearing helmets or knee pads. So if they were to hypothetically fall off the skateboard or get hurt, they would not put Sharonville liable for their injuries, because we have a rule that does state that you need to be wearing some sort of protection during this.
All right, so is there a motion to like add that amendment to our resolution 01? I got like 3 people. So yeah, the motion by Emma, seconded by Addison.
Roll call on the amendment to the resolution. Ms. Ellerding?
No.
Ms. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
No.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, the amendment to the resolution passes.
All right, as part of the resolution is now helmets and shin pads are added to the resolution. Any more discussion? Amelia?
How supervised would this be by like police or like adults, or like what if there was like a certain age limit that you had to be to get in without an adult, or if it was just like supervised by police so there's nothing unsafe happening?
Would you like an age limit to be added to the?
Sure.
What age?
We'll say 14 without an adult.
14. All right. Is there a motion for amendment to be 14 added to our law director?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, if you add a waiver that they have to sign so it doesn't create that liability, you can add all those things on it.
Okay.
Like the age limit and having the helmets and the knee pads, and you can add like all those rules onto it, so you don't have to keep adding these extra amendments to the.
So
Take this off, and I'm not gonna teach you.
we want a waiver that has helmets and knee pads and an age limit of 14. So helmets and knee pads are actually already in the amendment. We already passed that.
And your parent has to sign if you're under 18.
Parent has to sign if you're under 18. Okay. No, bro, I gotta like. Is there a motion to all right, motion by Emma and seconded by Addison again. Discussion? Anyone have anything to say, Elizabeth?
Children often lie about their age. Would there be any way to identify the child's age?
Yeah, that's the parent signature part of it. That she said.
Would they carry the waiver with them at all times in the skate park?
No. If you turn it in, I'm sure we'll have it like turn it in before you get into the skate park if we have a waiver. Reagan.
So are gates going to be locked and monitored? How are you going to ensure that this person that you see skating in the skate park has turned in a waiver, how are you going to keep them from, are you going to stop people from going in that haven't signed?
Caleb?
Are we gonna?
Wait. I have to answer your question. Gates. Would you like to add gates to this amendment we're currently passing? Can we add amendments to the amendments?
First, we'll finish one amendment and then go into the next one. It'll keep it cleaner.
All right, so we'll come back to that. Caleb?
Would we need like employees? Like, would we have to pay extra money for employees?
I'm gonna say that's gonna be part of her gate idea, so we'll come to that too, Trevor.
All this could be avoided if we put a sign near the skate park that says, use the skate park at your own risk.
Thank you, Trevor. So if this passes, then we're gonna come back to your idea and we're gonna try to pass that too. And if it doesn't passes, then I'm just gonna ignore that completely because it's gonna be, it doesn't matter anymore. Anyone over here have anything to add? All right, seeing that there's nothing, we're gonna vote on this amendment.
Roll call on the amendment. Ms. Ellerding?
No.
Ms. Logston?
No.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
No.
Ms. Schultz?
No.
Okay, that amendment was not approved.
All right, any more discussion on the original resolution 01? All right, nobody.
With you.
We're gonna vote on this now, resolution R01 with the amendment of helmets and chip pads.
Okay. Ms. Ellerding?
Yes.
Ms. Logston?
No.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
No.
Okay, resolution 2022 R01 has been approved.
Not vetoing it, dog. Are there any other matters that need to be heard from council? And that includes public.
No.
Or just-
Now it's the last time for the public to speak.
So yes?
No, now you asked that, yes.
Okay,
Anybody else?
so nobody on the council has anything? No other matters? All right, this is the last chance for the public to say anything, if they need to address anything or,
Call for adjournment.
Mr. Hardman.
Mr. President, thank you, and Mr. Mayor and Council, Treasurer, Auditor.
Name and address.
Oh, sorry. My name is Kevin Hardman, the real mayor of Sharonville, 10900 Reading Road.
Mr. Hardman, we can't have false claims during a city council meeting. Mayor Trevor has done a great job.
So I would like to thank you all. I hope you had a wonderful day today, learning a little, and last night for that matter, learning a little bit about what we do here in the city of Sharonville. So glad that you guys could come tonight. I hope you were entertained to some degree. I put your parents up to give you a little bit of fun to start with. I think they did a nice job as well. Like I said to you guys last night, you know, I won't stand here and call you guys the future leaders of anything, because I think your opinions matter today just as much as they will in the future. So we are very glad that you have taken an interest to spend some time with us over the last couple of days. I hope that you will continue to aspire and be part of whatever communities you become a part of as you continue to grow, as you start to graduate high school, move on to college, and then make your own lives for yourself. Some of the people up there, and myself included, were in your seats once upon a time, doing exactly what you're doing. And it was a fun experience for me 40 plus years ago, 30 plus years ago. I'm making myself older than I actually am. And so I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to your parents for a great group of kids. It was a wonderful hosting them the last couple of days. And you guys did actually pass an ordinance, which was kind of nice. So you actually made something happen, which is rare in government sometimes. So good job. Congratulations to all of you. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, does anyone motion to adjourn this meeting? Means end. All right, Elizabeth, and seconded by Reagan. We're gonna, all those in favor say yay. Opposed say nay. All right, this meeting is now adjourned.
All right. If we could do roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mr. Wilson? Here. Mr. Coulter?
Here.
Mr. Levitt? Here. All right. Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
And Kurt Irie is absent with notice.
Perfect. Approval of the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of April 12th, regular council meeting? Seeing none, those stand as written and Are they trying to? Okay. Those stand as written and distributed. Thank you. Reports and communication, Mayor Hardman.
It is all right with you, Ms. Hoppy.
We're gonna move our-
If you could move up the
Yes.
resolution
I sure will.
2022 R13E.
22 R13E.
And we'll need late delivery of that too, so.
Is there a motion to take late delivery of resolution 22 R13? So moved by Mr. Tankersley, second by Mr. Coulter. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, yes? Yes. Those opposed, no, and that does stand. Ms. Buhite, if you would please read that in its entirety.
Sure. First and only reading of Resolution 2022 R13E, commending Debbie O'Toole for over 35 years of exceptional public service to the city of Sharonville, Ohio. Whereas Debbie O'Toole has served the city for over 35 years, exhibiting leadership and dedication to public service, and whereas Debbie began her illustrious and distinguished career with the city on April 22nd, 1985, as a part-time clerk in the building department. And whereas in her first performance evaluation, it was noted that Debbie was a pleasure to have, a quick study, and has picked up on the department's language quickly. And whereas Debbie became a full-time clerk with the building department in January 1987, and based on a subsequent evaluation was considered a self-motivator, needing little supervision, not afraid of a challenge, and continually coming up with new computer programs. Debbie was also proficient in shorthand, a skill she still utilizes today. And whereas Debbie was a multitasker in the building department, this multitasking, however, had a negative outcome in December 1992 when Debbie fell in the City Hall parking lot and suffered a severe knee injury. Per her family and Debbie, she was trying to chew gum and walk at the same time. But perhaps she was thinking of one of her many tasks for the day. And whereas, fortunately, Debbie healed from that knee injury and moved to the city's administrative offices in 1995 as the administrative secretary, where her passion and love for the city of Sharonville has been apparent and unwavering. And whereas, through the years in her administrative role, Debbie worked with 3 mayors, Paul Cattleman, Virgil Levitt, and Kevin Hardman, and 4 safety service directors, Rex Basor, Al Ledbetter, Ted Mack, and James Lucas, contributing immeasurably to the efficiency of administration. And whereas it takes a special individual to successfully meander 7 different personalities, styles, and mannerisms, Debbie has done so in a cheerful, humorous, professional, and loyal manner. And whereas Debbie's efforts not only impacted those in administration, but all employees, coordinating numerous citywide employee banquets and other special events through the years. And whereas Debbie often talks with residents who are in need of information or may be upset regarding a situation, she is known for her patience, kindness, and willingness to help, even in volatile situations when emotions are heightened. And whereas Debbie's love for her children and grandchildren is apparent to her coworkers, as she often very proudly talks about them and their activities, including baseball, dancing, and other experiences. Debbie also has a love for German Shepherds, which began years ago when the owner of a German Shepherd could not be found and the dog was taken to City Hall. Debbie took the dog home to live with her family for 12 years. Since all of her children, grandchildren, and dogs have enjoyed Gorman Park through the years, Debbie can be considered that park's guardian. And whereas after all of her efforts and successes, Debbie has decided that it is time to enjoy a well-earned retirement that will be marked by more spent time with family and friends. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Council of the City of Sharonville that on the occasion of her retirement from the city and by virtue of her years of outstanding service and dedication to the community, The Sharonville City Council hereby publicly extends their sincere gratitude and appreciation to Debbie O'Toole for over 35 years of contributions to the welfare of the city of Sharonville and its residents. Section 1, this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure and shall take effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you. Is there a motion for Resolution 22R13E? So moved by Mrs. Knight, and I'll let our senior councilman second that. Mr. Tankersley. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley.
As much as I hate saying yes, Debbie, I hate to see you go, but enjoy your retirement, yes.
Mr. Wilson.
He's saying yes.
Okay.
Mr. Coulter.
Yes.
Mr. Levitt.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Mrs. Knight.
Yes, and you will truly be missed.
And Mr. Schmidt.
Yes, and thank you very much for all your help over the years. Thank you very much.
Resolution 2022-R13E has been approved.
Thank you. And we will take a.
So, well, wait a second.
Yeah,
It's not,
okay.
it's approved by you.
Well,
But
that's
I might decide to veto this resolution
Go ahead, I got votes.
because.
I got my aces in the hole on the screen over here. They're going to vote for me.
But I wouldn't even dare to do it. I mean, these are words, and I appreciate the work of Jim and others
Yes.
throughout the city building, your family, who helped put those words together. But, you know, words can't sum up over 35 years of just true dedication to this city. And when I say to this city, that's exactly where your dedication has been, Debbie, is to the city and the way this city runs, and helping both myself, the mayors before me who are in the back of the room tonight, and I know they're here to celebrate you, and on this great occasion, the safety service directors that have served this city. We couldn't do our jobs without you helping us each and every day to sift through all those emails we get now, to help us prepare things that we just need to do, and for me, making sure I'm answering certain things I need to answer and that get lost amongst all that. So I truly appreciate everything that you've done for me, everything that you do for the city. You will be missed. You know that, not just amongst the elected officials up here, but by all of our employees for all the great work that you do for them and helping them do their job and appreciating them for their job that they do. So it is going to be my absolute pleasure to sign this resolution because it's the least that we can do. We have some very pretty flowers for you tonight that we're going to hand off. We're going to make you stand and take some pictures, and I know Virgil and Paul are hopefully going to get in a picture with me to get a picture with you as well tonight. But congratulations. Thank you for your great service. I think she deserves a big, huge, round standing ovation.
Now, we're going to take a little break so we can celebrate Debbie. I tried to hide your cake because I made you a strawberry shortcake, but
The kids got it.
the kids got into it. So it's okay.
The kids, I think I saw officials.
I did too.
Debbie, these resolutions usually come in nice frames and printed on pieces of paper, but nobody knows how to do that. So thanks. Let me know how you want that.
back to me. So the only other thing I would like to share tonight is a big thank you to the President of Council, Ms. Hoppy, for just an excellently well-prepared day, 2 days for that matter, for our young students to lead Student Government Day. I know it is a huge undertaking, and so thanks to her and the hard work in making sure it happened. It was questionable whether or not we were even going to have enough attendees to make it happen this year, and so she did. I think the young men and women did a fantastic job. It's always great having them in here and getting them a chance to learn a little bit more about the city, but it is because of your President of Council, Ms. Hoppy, that makes that happen. And so thank you to you for a job well done. And that is all I have for this evening.
All right. We will move on to our Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Just legislation this evening, thank you. There's 7 items in front of council for consideration. If Scott can come up and talk about the first 2 that are kind of related, 2022-24 and 25.
Good evening. Ordinance 24 eliminates the 308 fund. This is sort of where we used to account for the Hyatt Place developer loan that we did back in 2015. We had to have a debt fund back then, and we established one. In 2018, we made the decision to pay off that debt, which was very fortuitous because selling a note, a one-year note back during COVID that had the word hotel in it would not have been good, so that move turned out really good for us. So this is to clean up, we have, because it's sort of duplicative, that we have an inter-fund liability between this 308 fund and the general fund, and then also this loan receivable amount. Because at the end of the day, all we really have is a receivable from the developer to the city's general fund that has funded this loan at this point. So this just simply eliminates that. I do kind of regret the push to do this portion as well back in 2018 when we paid the note off. So that is simply what this is doing. It makes no amendment to the actual loan agreement with the developer. That stays as drafted. And the ordinance 25 is simply just making the corresponding change to the codified ordinance on the allocation of motel taxes. So, any questions about either of those? I believe there's also an appropriation ordinance 28, appropriating $30,000 for the 401 capital fund, with the expectation of some increased costs that we're seeing a lot of projects, but increased costs associated with concrete. We wanted to do this ahead of the curbing sidewalk program. And this should push up what we have, the resources we have available up to do with what we have penciled in for that project. Any questions?
Does anybody have questions? Thank you very much.
Steve, do you have anything to add to that last ordinance?
No, just like, as Scott said, we've been seeing a lot of increasing contract costs. The idea of doing an appropriation before bidding a project would be to allow us to move forward faster with award of the contract. Within the 10%, we're still out of the 10% of the estimate, but this would just allow us to award that contract rather than having to back up the appropriation. Have that time lapse, days are good for as long.
Steve, they can't hear you back there. Is that microphone on? Or batteries?
Battery dead? Okay. Yep. I'll work on it. Yeah.
Just talk louder.
That's all I had, so.
Okay. Anybody have questions?
I don't have any questions on that, but while Steve is there, I know he sent me an email today with some really good news. with regard to Golden View Acres, the last of our residents that had been displaced from Golden View Acres as a result of the fire. We have found a residence for them in Golden View Acres, thanks to the hard work of all of our folks up there in getting some vacant properties open and available. They aren't the most ideal locations for those dislocated folks, so we're still working on that. But thank you to Steve, his entire crew, in making that happen. And so I'm very pleased that was in a very quick turnaround time, we were able to get all of those displaced back into an apartment up at Golden View Acres.
And by ideal, we have one resident that was on his first floor. She's currently in a second floor because that's what we had available. We should have a first floor coming available within 2 months. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I can't take all the credit.
I know.
Andy Bauer and Josh Powers up there. So.
Thank you.
Thank them. Thank you.
Chief Sunderman's here tonight to talk about two pieces of legislation, 2022-27E ordinance, which deals with our fire suppression hood, and then resolution R12, dealing with some surplus property.
Okay, to start with the fire suppression hood, this is Station 86. That would be the Chester Road Station. When that building was built about 13 years ago, there was great debate as to if the kitchen was residential or a commercial part of the building. A long story short, that kitchen was deemed residential, consequently had a residential suppression system put over the stove. That no longer meets code, so it can't be serviced anymore. Nobody will service it because it's too far out of code. So what we are asking to do is to spend $30,000 out of our capital fund to replace that hood system with a commercial hood, and then that will allow us to bring that back up to code and get that system charged and have fire protection again in our kitchen.
Are there any questions about that? Thank you.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, Vicki, real quick too, I just want to publicly thank Keith Becker, our inspector. He got 3 separate bids together, 3 separate drawings, took this all to NIC, and did a great job getting all this information together and making sure we were within code with NIC on that. Just wanted to say thank you to him publicly.
Great.
The next is we have some hydraulic rescue tools, what you folks probably commonly know as the Jaws of Life, that we replaced about a year ago. We took them out of service. And new tools were put on Engine 87, and at the time these tools didn't have enough value for our vendor to even take them as a trade-in, and we have since been working with Scarlet Oaks, and Scarlet Oaks is willing to exchange these tools for $5,000 in school credit, which the fire department would use to send some of our folks to some schooling to learn how to be aerial truck operators. So that is to declare that property a surplus and allow us to go ahead with Scarlet Oaks and releasing that for $5,000 in credit for education.
And just regarding that, whenever a value for surplus properties over $1,000, council action is needed.
Any questions?
One quick question. So the $5,000 school credit is limited to the fire department employees, staff, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, moving on to resolution 2022 R10E. This deals with our FEMA project. Per our consultants and legal counsel, it's time to start the eminent domain process with this resolution, which is declaring the necessity and intent. There's still plenty of time to keep negotiating with folks. Just us starting this resolution does not by any means mean that the people and the parcel owners on the list that are included in attachment A at your desk are not a work in progress. In fact, we anticipate more to be signed within the next week or so. This ordinance or this resolution will be followed up by a ordinance forthcoming Warren Ritchie is working on that. So the resolution refers to attachment, or Exhibit A, which is the parcel owners yet to sign. There's 5 of them. When we started the project, we had 19 parcels associated with the property, or with the project, either needing right-of-way or easements. From 19, we're down to 5. And then Exhibit B is the legal descriptions associated with each of those 5, basically outlining what we need. Again, both referenced in the legislation. Any questions with that resolution? And then Resolution 2022 R11 E is ratifying a grant request that we made yesterday. I think we actually submitted it Friday, with the deadline being today. The county started a community revitalization grant last year. They put $1.5 million into a countywide program. This year that's has doubled to $3 million. In looking at the guidelines and in talking with the county, Michael Blomer and I talked with Mark from the county, and some of the criteria is really for inner ring suburbs. We obviously don't comply with that, but also low to moderate income areas. Gorman Park, we're revitalizing that area anyway. It is a low to moderate income portion of the city, so we thought that this was our best grant to submit. And it does not need a council resolution, but that's our practice, so it's in front of you today.
Are there any
And that's it
questions
for the
about any of it? Okay, thank you. We'll move on. I just want to say a really quick thank you to, I know I got thanked, but really, our law director, Casey Lippard, was a huge help, and didn't do this alone. He was my sidekick today all day long. And all of our department heads were just phenomenal. In our fire department, in our police department, the students all went home, and I drove a young man home, and he was so proud of it. They gave them challenge coins. So all the kids got their challenge coins, and they were just, that really made their day. They were very, very proud of those things. They really enjoyed Public Works because Mike Carlson let them get in a lot of the equipment and sit there. And they're like, well, we would be scared to drive this big truck. Some of them not. Some of them were ready to go. And with the joysticks that they're in the trucks instead of steering wheels, they're like, oh, we could do this. So I'm thinking, oh, goodness. And I will let you know that it was brought up as one of their pieces of legislation to make it mandatory for all cars at the first flake of snow to be pulled off the road. So it's easier for them. So just the kids had your back. Yeah, well, they're not old enough. Unfortunately, they were all 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds. So, but it was a fabulous day. So I do want to thank all of our department heads. Mr. Lucas gave a tour today of the administration. John Creech and his crew had a wonderful presentation over in their area, talking to the kids about planning and things like that. He did not realize that Jake was your son. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it was fun. Paul Schmidt, thank you for coming today. I really appreciate all your help and support too. So we'll move on. I was going to say goodbye to our gentleman, but it looks like he did not come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we were gonna, the person who was doing our filming for ICRC has moved, and now we have a new person with us. So thank you, and we welcome you. So we have that, and we'll move on to Mrs. Buhite.
A Trex transfer of a liquor license has been sent back and approved. It's from Bon Chinese, and it was now moved to Casual Chinese Plus, located at 11955 Lebanon Road. And there is a public hearing scheduled for May 10th at 7 p.m. here in council chambers on the proposed amendments to the Planning and Zoning Code.
Perfect. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll go to our auditor, Mr. Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to cover both sides of the ledger this evening in Mr. Irie's absence. We are 25% away through the year, and our general fund have spent 15.6% of our budget, so we're on track there. Receipts actually in March were down 12% from 2021. However, we're up for the year 0.75%. I think March last year was an astronomically really good month, and so it made it look like we had a bad month, but actually we had a really good month. So I think historically we had a good March, but nevertheless we're up year to date. One last point is that we made comment earlier, maybe end of last year, that we were going to do another GFOA study. That's underway. Mr. McKeon is compiling additional information for them to complete that study. That'll be happening soon. Just as a reminder, that study, last time we did it, guided us through, what sort of capital expenditures that we wanted to do over the next 5 years. It also helped us understand what kind of general fund dollars we need to be keeping in the till. We think maybe that study will change some things for us, and so we're looking forward to seeing that and understanding how we budget ourselves going forward, understanding what our capital expenditure budget will be in the next 5 years. So we're looking forward to that. And by the way, the last time we did this, I believe we covered everything on our capital expenditure budget, which were some of the things that we did were pie in the sky stuff when we did them anyway. So congratulations to all of us.
Great.
That's my report.
You.
Yep.
Our law director, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you, and I'll piggyback off of what you and Mr. Mayor had to say. Thank you very much for coordinating this. Thank you to the department heads, and thanks especially to the kids for actively participating, and the parents, some of which are here right now, for sharing your kids with us. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Residents that wish to be heard this evening? No? Okay. Council committees. Community development. Mr. Okay, thank you. Community services, Mr. Lovett.
Our report is on file with Mr. Knight. Our next community services meeting will be next Wednesday, 4 p.m.
Perfect, thank you very much. Budget and finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report, but our next budget and finance meeting will be May 10th at 6 p.m. And then moving on into project oversight, no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Honored citizens, Mrs. Knight.
Tonight, I am honoring the students who participated in the Student Government Day. I am now assured that Sharonville has some great young citizens after the meeting tonight especially. It was my pleasure getting to meet and find out about their futures last night, so it was great. So yes. I just want to honor them tonight.
Thank you very much. That was nice.
Yes, our next Law and Public Safety Committee meeting will be May 3rd, 4 p.m. Now, there are 5 Tuesdays in May, so you bear that in mind, so we have a little extra. And also, remember Reagan from her soccer days? I reffed her. So that, so it makes it amazing how you remember those things. That she,
how they grow.
Yes. I remember when she was a little passer.
Yeah, he even said that you were a striker.
Striker, then.
And she does, whoa. So it was fun listening.
It was good. Thank you. And thank you.
Okay, we have rule suspension motions for first and only reading with immediate effectivity of ordinance 2022-2017, 2022-28, resolutions 20. Keeps falling off. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, yes? Yes. Those opposed, no. And that motion does carry. We'll move into unfinished business.
Second reading of ordinance 2022-22, amending Part 11 of the Sharonville Codified Ordinances, commonly known as the Planning and Zoning Code.
And new business.
First and only reading of 2022-24, accounting for Convention Center Hotel Loan and amending 2022 appropriations.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2022-24? So moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mr. Cook. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight? Mr. Schmidt? Ordinance 2022-24 has been approved. Sorry. First and only reading of ordinance 2022-25, amending codified ordinance 181.14, allocation of transient occupancy tax between funds to allocate transient occupancy tax between the Sharonville Convention Center Fund and the Sharonville General Fund.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2022-25? So moved by Mr. Coulter, second by Mr. Schmidt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt? Ordinance 2022-25 has been approved. Just a first reading of Emergency Ordinance 2022-26E, authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with MediCount to provide EMS billing, allow billing rates to be adjusted without further legislation, and declaring an emergency. Okay. First and only reading of Emergency Ordinance 2022-27E, authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract to replace the Station 86 kitchen fire suppression hood and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2022-27E? So moved by Mr. Tankersley, second by Mrs. Knight. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Emergency Ordinance 2022-27E has been approved. First and only reading of Ordinance 2022-28, amending 2022 appropriations for the 401 Capital Fund.
Is there a motion to pass ordinance 2022-28? So moved by Mr. Cook, second by Mr. Coulter. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-28 has been approved. First and only reading of Resolution 2022 R10E, declaring the necessity and intent to appropriate fee simple title and temporary construction easements for a public purpose from several property owners for the Sharon Creek Flood Mitigation Project and declaring an emergency effective immediately.
Is there a motion to pass resolution 2022 R10E? So moved by Mr. Schmidt, second by Mrs. Knight. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Resolution 2022 R10E has been approved. First and only reading of Resolution 2022 R11E, Resolution ratifying the Recreation Director's submission of an application for a Hamilton County Community Revitalization Grant and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion to pass Resolution 2022-R11E? So moved by Mr. Tankersley, second by Mr. Schmidt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-R11E has been approved. First and only reading of Resolution 2022-R12, determining that fire department hydraulic rescue tools are surplus equipment and authorizing their disposal by exchange with Scarlet Oaks Vocational School.
Is there a motion to pass Resolution 2022-R12? So moved by Mr. Tankersley, second by Mrs. Knight. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-R12 has been approved.
Okay, it's another opportunity. Anyone wishing to be heard this evening? Seeing none, are there any other matters to be heard? Mrs. Knight?
I just want everyone to know that on May 2nd, at our senior citizen meeting on Monday, we have Betty Smith is going to have her 90th birthday. So we are having a small party for her. So if anybody would like to come, we would appreciate it. So it's 10 o'clock on Monday at the rec center in the meeting room. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Tankersley?
And I want to echo what everyone else has said. Congratulations, job well done on getting the students together, putting the dinner and all the festivities today for them.
Thank you.
So,
Mr. McKeon?
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to say thanks for all the folks over at the tax office. So we had our first April tax deadline come and go since 2019. So they set a record for the most people through the building in a day in a post-COVID kind of world. So they've had a busy month, and we will see. April will stand out as this will be our biggest April since 2019. So. Which will skew a lot of the historical numbers here going forward. But the folks over there did a really nice job, and we were hard at it.
Great, thank you. A couple of them did join us for lunch today, so that was nice to see them and say thank you in person. So, yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing nothing else, I want to thank our two gentlemen that Zoomed in tonight for your time and your efforts. I do appreciate you both. Mr. Wilson, I hope you're on the road to recovery and that knee is doing great. Mr. Lovett, please be careful on your way home. We miss you, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Thank you, gentlemen. Is there a motion for adjournment? So moved by Mr. Cook, second by Mr. Tankersley. All those in favor, yes? Yes. All those opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you.